A king once sold part of his kingdom, asterisk there was no invasion, no battle, and no surrender. It happened quietly, through money, documents, and a single decision. This is the true story of King Charles II of England and the city of Dunkirk. In the mid-1600s, England was exhausted after years of civil war. When Charles II returned to the throne in 1660, the kingdom looked stable on the surface, but the reality was far worse. The treasury was nearly empty, the army was expensive, and the king was already drowning in debt. At the same time, England controlled Dunkirk, a heavily fortified port city on the European coast. Dunkirk was not an ordinary city. It was a strategic military and naval stronghold that gave England influence over the English Channel and European trade routes. England had captured Dunkirk from Spain through years of warfare, and the city had cost blood, soldiers, and enormous resources. Owning Dunkirk symbolized power, but maintaining it required constant repairs, troops, and defenses. For a kingdom already struggling financially, the city became less of an advantage and more of a burden. Charles II was forced to make a choice. He could continue defending Dunkirk and risk pushing England deeper into financial collapse, or he could give it up. Instead of losing the city in battle, the king chose something far more controversial. In 1662, Charles II secretly negotiated with France and sold Dunkirk to King Louis XIV. The transaction was simple: Dunkirk in exchange for gold. There was no fighting, no siege, and no public debate. One of England's most valuable territories changed hands through a business deal. When news of the sale reached the public, outrage followed. Dunkirk had been won through war and sacrifice, yet it was lost through money. France gained a powerful port that strengthened its military position in Europe, while England lost a strategic advantage it might never recover. The decision damaged Charles II's reputation and became one of the most criticized actions of his reign. Historians later described the sale of Dunkirk as a moment when national power was traded for short-term survival. Dunkirk was not conquered. It was not invaded. It was sold. The story of Charles II and Dunkirk reveals a side of history that is often ignored. Not every kingdom falls to armies, and not every border is changed by war. Sometimes history is reshaped quietly with ink, paper, and gold. That is how a king sold his kingdom.